professional.
Absolutely. It's, so speaking of the professional, is Ben there? Is Ben on the line already?
I am.
What's up? Welcome, Ben. Thank you so much for joining us on the Sharpen the Axe, man. We definitely appreciate it.
Oh, you bet.
So why don't you give us a little bit of the history of Dwarfcraft to start with?
Well, I mean, the basic history, I guess, is probably not very different from anybody else. I've always been a musician and looking for, well, okay, so I've always been looking for new sounds, and that started at a time when I had a lot more time than money. So I started experimenting with circuit bending, things like that, and then just kind of started piecing together knowledge from books and just online. And like pretty much as soon as I figured or I learned how to make a square wave generator, I was just kind of charging forward, trying to make new machines.
So you didn't really go to like school for electrical engineering, anything like that officially, or just kind of doing this on your own?
That's right. I wish I could go to school for electrical engineering now in some ways, but you know, I don't really have the time.
And then I imagine these days there's, you know, with the internet you could find so much stuff where you could just kind of just start doing things where you don't have to go through.
And there's so many online forums, you know, that joke of the University of YouTube is definitely true. And like I believe you were active on I Love Fuzz, right, Ben?
Yeah.
And through go ahead. Sorry.
It's important to note that most of that information on the internet is wrong.
Like, no, that's not possible.
No.
The internet is never wrong.
I mean, if you want to have a bad day, just look up a schematic for something simple that you'd really love to build for yourself and do it exactly right and just watch the smoke pour out.
Alongside of trying not to burn yourself with a soldering iron.
Right, yeah.
Man, I want to dive into this world so much, but I'm really not the handiest person. So, dude, props to you for being a self-starter that has made such a successful, awesome company without having, you know, electrical engineering background. That's pretty awesome, man.
Well, you know, it's also funny that you mentioned YouTube because that was a big part of how I got this going in the beginning and kind of how we as a team got it over some of those first couple humps, because when I started making videos, very few people out there were doing demo videos or reviews. So a lot of that, I got a lot of traffic for that. Now, you know, everybody's doing demos and reviews and everything like that. So I think had I waited a few years, I would have had a much harder time of it. But so there was a little bit of timing and luck there, in addition to the, you know, putting in the work and that type of thing. But.
For sure, and I always look forward when you guys release another pedal, not just for the device itself, but you guys consistently have like the most funny and entertaining demo videos with all the almost Eric Andre show or Tim and Eric-esque, you know, jumps and cuts and like sudden pitch shifts.
Oh, well, thanks. Yeah.
I enjoy anything that makes me feel like I'm watching Adult Swim, pretty much.
Okay, right on. Yeah. Well, it's that kind of started just me being a little bit nervous and then cutting out all the ums and the pauses and the things like that, which leads to that really frenetic pace of a video. And, you know, then I'd get upset or extra nervous and just do some shouting and things like that. And, you know, that people always think that's funny.
Oh, I totally get you there. You should see last week's episode of this show. We had some cable conundrums and the awkward pauses in the middle of air.
Yeah, we do this completely live, and we air it on Facebook Live. So if there's some kind of a technical glitch, we have to kind of solve it on the fly. We can't.
Yeah, you see me just fail and go completely nihilist spouting, just loon on air pretty quickly.
Well, that's the adventure of live, right?
Right, absolutely, yeah.
So we have 3 pedals set up here. I was thinking maybe we could kind of like mess around with each one for a little bit, kind of get an idea of what they sound like, and maybe get your take on what you're thinking wasn't coming up with this, and maybe if you have some like favorite settings that you could recommend.
Absolutely, yeah.
So we have to start here right in the front of the chain, the Great Destroyer, which I could be wrong here, but I think I've heard you guys describe as your flagship or a flagship.
Yeah, that was the first effects pedal
Right.
I ever made, actually. And that so that's definitely the flagship. It doesn't have the highest sales numbers like month by month, but I mean, it's still still moved a lot of those units over 10 years.
Right on, right on. So what is the main idea behind what the Great Destroyer is?
Well, these days I like to say it's a noise synthesizer that happens to have an audio input.
That sounds
nice.
about right.
Which might be a little bit reductive because it actually does play best with guitars or other electroacoustic signals, in my opinion. So there's I like to call it the safe mode, which is you turn all the knobs all the way up except volume, which you do to taste.
All of them all the way up. Let's try this.
Yep.
So this is clean.
So this is clean. That's through Paul's Strat Warmouth thing. And now let's turn her on. And I hear self-oscillation underneath this too. Oh, there it is. And there's that oscillation. So it does have that kind of fuzzy sort of quality, and it's like low mid pushy, like nice and thick sounding.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's or at the risk of getting a little too techy, there are great big caps at the beginning and the end of that circuit, just to let the maximum amount of bass in and out.
Right on. And that's one thing I also wanted to note is aside from guitar, I also play bass, baritone guitars, and I love synths. And that's one of the coolest features of your company is that I don't think I've ever tried any of your pedals that doesn't sound great on guitar, baritone, bass, or keyboard.
Oh, thank you. I don't want to poison the well, but there's a couple that I really dislike on bass. But other people are they tell me I'm crazy for saying that, but it's I feel like I've kind of always been a little bit on the outside of the guitar world because ever since I started playing, like even when I was 12 years old, it was all neck pickup, and just always trying to get more of that just body shaking low out of a guitar or a bass or a synth or anything. So naturally, as soon as I started making my own stuff, I did the best I could to maintain or amplify that. Whereas, and I didn't hear of a treble booster until, I was probably 18 or 19, and I was like, "What? Gross! Why would you do that?" Like, and I've made cracks online before about like, have you ever heard a guitar player who needed more treble? No, never, ever, ever, ever.
You make a valid point, Ben. You do make a valid point.
That's why the treble knob on your guitar cuts treble. It doesn't add more treble.
Right, yeah.
Right.
No one has an active EQ on the guitar with a treble boost, except for maybe I could see Brian May, but that's like one exception out of how many millions?
I guess somebody told me once. I think we were talking about a specific pedal. Like, I don't know, is the Rangemaster a treble booster?
Oh yeah, the old Color Sound, or one of those eras of old '60s fuzzes. Yeah.
Yeah, it was one of those older pedals that's called a treble booster, and somebody's like, "Well, it boosts all your levels, so it's mumble," and I was like, "Well, then it's got a bad name."
That was a terrible name for that.
So on the Great Destroyer, is that your favorite setting? Just go full retard on everything, crank everything all the way up?
No. The reason I told you to try that one is because that's as normal as that pedal will get.
Oh.
Max out. I like that inverse.
Interesting.
Yeah. So really from there, it's really dependent on your instruments, like really your whole rig. It's kind of all exploratory from there.
Well,
I think.
One thing I did appreciate is it does the self-oscillation thing, and like running it through. We have after it in this chain for the first half a Pitchgrinder, and after that the ARF, and I was able to mess with it like a 8-step sequence with just an oscillator behind it with a filter at the end, like old
totally.
tabletop status. I love that I could do that right here. I could just set a good pedal board up with the Great Destroyer at the front, and I don't feel like playing guitar today, so I'm just going to generate noise.
Yeah, right on. Yeah, if you tweak the knobs on the guitar, that'll change how the Great Destroyer reacts. And I actually entertained myself for about half an hour at a trade show once. I pulled the cable out and just mashed my hands on it and listened to the pedal holler and chirp in response. So
right on. So is there, outside of this all dimed out, is there any other settings you would suggest or that come to mind for you for the Great Destroyer?
I mean, in general, like, if I was to go exploring, then I would dial the starve back to about noon, and then just kind of bit by bit backing off the other knobs. And then I like to get a rhythmic oscillation going.
All right, let's give that a quick try here. So I'm going to have Paul play. So it definitely has that dying oscillator sound in a really rad way. As you said, Ben, it's kind of input sensitive what you put into it and how you set it, but that's a unique little box that provides plenty of room for exploration. I dig it.
Thanks. I think that one that's definitely not been tapped out. Like there's some things that I've been wanting to record with that for years now, and I keep thinking, oh, somebody's going to beat me to it, but they haven't yet. So I feel like, you know, if it's been 10 years and we haven't seen the end of, you know, what can come out of that box, like, hopefully it'll be at least another 10 more before everybody's bored of it.
You can put out a 10th anniversary edition with one extra feature.
We did put out a 10th anniversary version.
Oh, no shit. Oh, wow.
couple
I'm way behind.
Yeah. Well, you know, it was a short run. We pretty much just, like, pushed that on our, like, Twitter and Facebook and a couple of forums here and there, but...
Nice. Right on, right on. So next in line, we have the Pitchgrinder. So what can you tell us about this crazy, crazy device?
Okay. Well, Pitchgrinder is our first digital pedal. A guy right here in Eau Claire, actually, I went to school with one of his kids, and we sort of got reintroduced several years after high school. But I kind of brought a notebook full of ideas to him because he's the digital guy. I mean, he can do analog stuff as well. But anyway, so I brought this notebook of ideas, and the first one he latched onto was this sketch of an arpeggiator, which is, so that's what the Pitchgrinder was conceived as, was a digital arpeggiator. And we just kind of thought, like, the best way to, like, the best interface for that would be a tuner for each stage of the sequence. And kind of once we got that working, Bob would think of, new features that we could add, what the hardware and software were capable of and things like that. And so then we thought of adding, about 100 more things, and then decided, well, we got to keep it in one box. So, I mean, I guess that's the secret origin story of the Pitchgrinder.
Right on. And it's 8 individual pots for the position of pitch for each step, right?
Yep.
A master output volume. The length goes with how many steps in the sequence. You got a tap tempo for the speed, and the glide goes between like a legato or a more step sounding, or how does that switch work?
Yeah, the glide is it slides between the steps at a fixed rate, just like a glissando on a synthesizer or something. And I'll tell you a super fun trick right now.
Sure. Which
is to turn the pattern length down to 1, and turn the glide on, and then you can.
Is that up position or down position?
Should be up, but sometimes it's down.
Okay. And where from there? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No problem. And then you can step through the sequence just by tapping the tap button.
Oh, rad.
Yeah. So it'll swoop between those notes, and so I used to sort of have this game with myself where for a solo I would just leave the Pitchgrinder knobs all sort of random, except for the step length and having the glide on. And so when I took my solo, I'd turn on like a fuzz, and then the Pitchgrinder, and then an echo. And then the game is hopefully you can tell where the pitch is going to land. And if it's going to land on a bad note, then you got to bend or find another note, and just keep going through that sequence until you got it figured out, and then your solo's probably done.
That is awesome, though. That is a challenge to yourself live, and it challenges your playing ability to go through and have to correct wherever it's randomly set. That's pretty awesome. So,
well, you know, it's
I have plenty of an easy time hitting wrong notes myself without having a pedal do it for me.
oh, good. That means I'm going to put you through this right now then.
All right, let's see what we can do.
So let's turn, okay, clean. And engaged. Okay, I'm going to make it go through that one more time because I want this to happen. All right, now I'm going to... Well, I guess I'm going to just change the pitch settings around a little bit and see if I can get this thing going just in its normal sequence with, 4 steps. Let's go. Yeah, hold one note, hit it again. And if that's 4 steps on with the glissando on, now let's turn it off. So again, that. See, I like that.
That's nice.
That step sort of thing. Let's go out to 6. This thing is so much fun. When we finally got Dwarfcraft at Pitbull Audio, me and the other employees, the first one we gravitated to was the Pitchgrinder, is where at least 2 of us in the staff are just glitch and weirdness junkies. And the band I play in, we don't really have anything that needs a Pitchgrinder, but oh my God, do I want to write something as an excuse for me to get one.
Well, I'm sure you can think of a way to work it in.
You know what? I might need to just get more clever and work on it. I think you're right, Ben. Do you guys have any artists? I mean, I know you guys have a ton of artists that are out there using your devices, but anyone in particular who's utilizing the Pitchgrinder that you could name?
As I understand it, it became a big, important part of one of the new Terramello songs.
Yes! Awesome!
Yeah. They, I think they finished up recording maybe 2 or 3 months ago. So I don't think the album is like even mixed. There's no dates planned or anything. So
that's. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I know for sure. Oh, I was just gonna say. So that's one I know for sure. Like those have gone out to a lot of well-known people, but you don't always hear back. Like until you meet up, somewhere. The best time I ever heard a Pitchgrinder was at a 2-night stand of Boris in Chicago.
Oh, nice.
And I brought Takeshi Pitchgrinder on the first night. And the second night they were playing I think the first night was like the hits, and then the second night was more experimental and drone, and then they played Flood for the closer.
Nice. Nice.
Okay, I'm glad you know that song. If listeners don't, it's I think it only came out on CD in Japan. It's like this hour-long song.
And for our listeners out there, you got to check out Terramellos and Boris, just tone gods. All members in both those bands are amazing. We got a little bit until our first commercial break.
Just about a minute, yeah.
So could you tell us about the ARF a bit in this minute we got left?
Oh, sure. Yeah. I mean, that was just my first crack at a resonant filter. Like yourself, I've been very into synths and keys and stuff like that, and I think a filter goes well on everything, especially if it's resonant and expressive. And I didn't want to do like an envelope follower or anything for the trigger, because like when I use a micro synth or anything else that's supposed to detect my dynamics to trigger a filter sweep, I always re-trigger it in the middle, or I don't hit hard enough, it doesn't go. So that's why there's a button on that for the,
Hey Ben,
for the envelope.
Sorry to interrupt you, man. We're about to go into a commercial here in just a couple of seconds.
Oh, there it is. But yeah, well, you can check out plenty of the awesome demo videos for the ARP on YouTube or off of Dwarfcraft's website. Thank you, Ben, so much for joining us, and we hope to hear from you again soon.
Okay, great.
Thank you, Ben.
Thanks, guys.
We'll be right back on Sharpen the Axe after these breaks. Stay tuned.
All right. Hold on a second.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
This is Jackie Bertoni from Jackie's Groove. Come join me weekly on my journey through the music business as I take you behind the velvet rope, interviewing industry notables such as Al Di Meola, Michael McDonald, and Al Jarreau, to name but a few. Listen to their stories on being in the studios recording #1 hits and onto the stages throughout the globe. Allow me to be your music historian. You can hear me live every Monday at 2 p.m. and every Wednesday at 12 noon Pacific Standard Time or 24/7 on jackiesgroove.com. Ready to get your groove on?
Hi, I'm Tim Dolbear, the host of Sound Experience on EnterTalk Radio. Each week, I talk with top professional audio engineers, producers, musicians, and the manufacturers that make the tools that we use in the studio each and every day. From capturing the perfect take to mastering your final release, and the tools and how the pros use them, we are going to dive deep into their process and learn from their experience. I look forward to you joining us each week on Sound Experience with me, your host, Tim Dolbear.
Make this your vinyl night. I'm John J.R. Robinson, and every week, music creation comes alive through stories, experiences, and sounds when vinyl records filled our hearts and minds. My friends and I share our tips and techniques used in creation of iconic tracks for recording artists such as Michael Jackson, Eric Clapton, Quincy Jones, and Steve Winwood, to name a few. Vinyl has emerged hot, and the soul of vinyl defines art and passion which burns deepest at night. Tune in every Wednesday.
Welcome to Sharpen the Axe. Explore the bleeding edge of guitar and bass gear. Discover a sound uniquely your own and cut through the noise. With your hosts, Eric Lucero and Paul Berezetsky.
All right, here we are.
Welcome back, guys.
Second half of Sharpen the Axe. This episode featuring...
All right.
Well, hey! And Ben of Dwarfcraft Devices.
Thanks for sticking around. We got more pedals to check out, and we're definitely going to need some guidance to go through these as well.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Before we hop into these next three, I want to ask a couple questions. One, I remember back, it was a possibility of there being a signature pedal for Juan Alderete, one of my bass hero, coming out. Mm-hmm. Is that still a possibility, or is that something that's still in the fog at the moment?
It's definitely a possibility. There's been a few things that we've come up with. Like the ARF itself was sort of in response to a request from one.
Oh.
But I guess we haven't really gotten together again and talked about a signature pedal, people get real busy in a lot of different directions. So
For sure, yeah.
yeah.
Right on. Well, I would definitely be curious to see anything that that's designed for him. I mean, of course, he is the pedal guru, and you've been on Pedals and Effects, haven't you? Yeah, you have.
Yeah, a couple times. Yeah.
That's right.
And well, in fact, before that show even started, I shot a bunch of stuff with him and Jonathan Hischke in Juan's studio. Just messing around with pedals, and there's a quick bit of me drumming even in that nonsense.
I have to keep an eye out for that. That's awesome. Oh yeah, and Jonathan Hischke, who's been in Gnarls Barkley's live band, he's in Dot Hacker. I saw him play live in Les Butcherettes. He's another awesome pedal bass guy and bass player who our fans should check out.
Totally.
Absolutely. And second question before we hop into the pedals, is there anything we should keep an eye and ear out for in 2017, or you want to keep some secrets for now?
I'm gonna keep it under wraps for now.
Right on.
But we're always working on a bunch of new stuff. Well, okay, I can't stand it. We're pretty close to our next Echo pedal.
Awesome.
Nice.
And I am in the market for a new delay or echo, so I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye out for what you guys put out. Anything you can tell us about it, or is its existence enough news for now?
I will tell you that I'm pretty sure it has 666 milliseconds of delay.
That makes me so happy. I can finally hit Satan's note and his echo millisecond leg. Oh, I am happy with that. Speaking of summoning the undead, first in line here we got the a Necromancer. Now this is again that first day that we got you guys stuff into Pitbull Audio, which our listeners can check out online, or if you happen to be in the San Diego area, come on in, say hi to me, and I'll try some stuff out with you. But this one I tried with a bass 6, a guitar, and bass, and this is one of the ones that made my jaw drop. So what can you tell me about the Necromancer?
That one's got an interesting origin story, I think. So a while back we reissued Devi Ever Silver Rose.
Oh, yes.
And people were asking for just the super fuzz section of that pedal. And I was like, we don't really do, like straight reproductions of anything. But I mean, it was enough people that were like, okay, let's consider like what we could do here. And I asked one of the other engineers to just give us an insane EQ, like just huge boosts on everything, and we put the super fuzz into a spectral EQ to see where the deepest cut was, and like on the mid scoop. And so we focused the mid knob at that frequency. It's like 10K or something, or maybe that's too high. I don't remember. And then the idea being that cranking that mid knob when you have the mids scooped out of the main fuzz can help you get some of those mids back. And just, I felt like it really opened up that super fuzz circuit, which is already so unique sounding on its own. Yeah, so that's that one.
Well, let's give her a listen. I mean, this thing again, I love it so much. Oh, before we hop into it, can you explain the mini toggles on it? What shifts with the mids and the EQ toggle?
Oh, sure. So the EQ toggle just turns that whole EQ circuit on and off, or bypasses it, or however you want to think of it. And the mids toggle up top. So up is like on, so mids are there. And then somebody described it when you flip the switch down as it inverts the EQ, which may or may not be scientifically true, but it sounds super true because your mids are just gone and your bass and treble are humongous.
Awesome. Well, without further ado, should we give her a listen?
Yeah.
So I'll use mine on this. That's bypass, and here, volume.
Whoa. I don't know what I did to you.
Oh, a little bit of a volume drop. Well, this thing is definitely heavy as all hell. This thing is just nuts. It's maybe. Oh, okay, I had the volume way too low, so sorry for any of the listeners who could barely hear what I was doing. I love that nasty, nasty sound on this thing. This thing is awesome. I did
thank you.
I did a little a demo of it with bass on my Instagram, and just I mean, if I was building a bass rig again, I definitely would have this on there. Now, is there any setting in? Oh, thank you. Or is there any setting on there that you would suggest or that pops out to you?
Well, the way that I use it, and I just did on Monday night, in fact, recorded some bass with it, is I leave the mids toggle up and then turn the EQ on, and then I just blast the bass and treble as much as the amp can handle. And then I kind of start backing out the mids to get it sounding a little more aggressive. But I like to test that with the other instruments going, so I don't get totally lost in the mix from the mid scoop.
Shape from there into the mix.
Yeah.
Let's see how Paul sounds this way. So here's his clean. There we go. And engage. It's definitely a very, very dense sounding pedal. It adds just, I don't know what else to say, density right to your sound. After that, in this chain, we have the Wizard of Pitch, which Well, how about this? How about you tell us about the Wizard of Pitch, and then the new one you guys just put out, the Deluxe or Super Wizard of Pitch?
The Super Wizard, yeah. So the Wizard started as the idea was to do a pitch grinder without the sequencer, so just like a one-stage pitch grinder.
Oh, okay.
And that's actually something that Juan had asked for, and so I brought that idea to Bob, and he was like, "Oh, yeah, we could do that, but check this out. I've got this new chip. It's higher fidelity or bits or so yeah, bits. It has more bits.
More bits.
Yeah. And so that was another case of where we got the basic functionality, like the core concept to work, and then just let the minds run and see what the technology could and couldn't do, until we settled on that feature set that's there in front of you.
Right on. So, and what is the difference now? I saw you in post in some forum of the new one, and I saw the word glitch and instantly wanted to buy it. So why don't you tell me about what's on the new one?
Okay, so the Super Wizard, that sort of started because we did a collaboration with Buzz Roches a while ago, where we did a Wizard of Pitch with their Afterlife reverb, and Bob actually showed me this little hack you could do with like one line of code and a button that would freeze the recording buffer on the Wizard of Pitch, so it just repeats whatever is in that buffer.
Huh.
And so we put that on the Afterlife of Pitch, and labeled it glitch, and like internet people were like, it's not really a glitch, what a misleading label. Yeah. So
That's a good impression of the internet.
That is, yeah.
Thank you.
Also,
Thank you.
Also, I
Yeah.
do have to admit, there's a number of companies you guys include. If you guys put a pot that says glitch and it actually does nothing, I would probably still buy it.
All right, noted.
Easy, I'm an easy sell.
There's a bunch of like uninspiring designs and prototypes banging around that, I guess I could just write glitch on and get them moved the hell out of my workshop.
Well, I'll just send you my next paycheck. It'll just make it easy for everyone involved.
All right, perfect.
Right on. So, but this is the new. I'm sorry again. Is it the Super Wizard of Pitch or Wizard of Pitch Deluxe? I'm sorry. What are you calling it?
It's just called, the box just says Super Wizard.
Super Wizard. And is that available for pre-order already, or?
Yes, I'm pretty sure. Dear, we still have Super Wizards left on pre-order. Yes, there are a very small number still, pre-orderable.
Right on. Awesome. Well, let's dive into the Wizard of Pitch here. So what's a good setting for us to start at here?
Okay, so I always start with pitch all the way up, mix all the way counterclockwise, and, mix in the middle, speed all the way counterclockwise, and then both toggles up. So that should just be a straight, 50-50 mix with an octave up.
Awesome. Let's do this. That is Paul Clean. And engage. It's very pleasant and kind of comes like a trail.
Yeah, there's a short delay on it. Just due to the
I'm sorry.
nature of the chip.
Right on, right on. So it is a design that's based around the behaviors of a particular chip.
Yeah, I'm. A lot of times we're very dependent on the technology that we're working with, and it shapes. It has a huge impact on the outcome. We're working on some of our new stuff is a lot higher tech, so it's not going to be so dependent on the technology, I guess. I guess we're just working with more capable chips and things, so not as many like hard limits up front. I'm rambling now.
It's all good. It's all good. Information is information, and we like to provide our listeners with information. So, what would you suggest playing with next to, elicit something anything out of the Wizard of Pitch here?
I would turn that speed knob up to maybe 2 o'clock, and then it'll crossfade between the wet and dry signal.
I like throwing the weird stuff at Paul just to see what happens.
I had a melody planned out that would have been recognizable, but it's unrecognizable. That's pretty unique.
It sounds like you're on mushrooms, and I like that. It gives me good memories and flashbacks.
I think I'm seeing
in the
dwarves in the corner over here.
Very cool, though. I mean, you guys definitely cater to outside-the-box players, and I mean, like even at Pitbull Audio, we'll get guys that come in and just go, who would use that? What is it for? Who would use that? And just the only thing I can ever tell them is just plug in and just let go of any preconceptions, any pretensions, and just have fun with it. You'll find your way around it.
Yeah. Well, it probably says on our website, but it definitely says on our little posters that we send out with everything, new machines for new music. That's not an order. It's more of a shoot, I don't know what it is. Motto, I guess, maybe. So yeah, or a statement of intent, maybe.
There we go. That works. Yeah, a statement of intent for sure.
Yeah. So if you want to do some normal stuff, like I'll find you a setting. I promise. You can put it in any Wilco or Arcade Fire song that you're into.
I don't believe you. What's a normal setting on this pedal?
I would love to see what Nels Klein would do with any of your pedals. Does he play any of your pedals?
I don't know if they're in his any of his live rigs or anything, but several years ago when Wilco had their own music festival.
Yeah.
They got like a shitload of our pedals for an installation.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow.
They're actually playing here this summer, so I gotta see if I still have that manager's email to be like, hey, you should send Nels over to the workshop.
Absolutely. Take some video, dude. I would love to see him in your guys' workshop trying stuff out. That would make me all happy inside.
That would be great. But yeah, I'm trying not to get too worked up about it because festivals can be a real situation.
Yeah, that is true. That is absolutely true. Now, we have last in line here, one of your newer ones, the Happiness, which is another filter. And like your other filter, too, I want to know quickly, it has CV inputs, and I love that you guys do cater to the modular synth guys with allowing your pedals to be plugged into anyone's modular setup.
Well, yeah, thank you. I mean, that starts by catering to me, and actually, I'm pretty sure all 4 modular synthesists in Eau Claire, Wisconsin, work directly for or with Dwarfcraft.
Nice. You guys got the monopoly on modular out there, then.
I think so. Yeah.
So why don't you tell us about? Oh, I'm sorry. I keep interrupting.
No problem. I was just going to say that Bob was the first guy I ever met in town who had a modular rig, and then the next 2 people I think we hired also.
Nice. Just he brought them all along. So
yeah.
we have the happiness here, and we have mission control, or I'm sorry, mission engineering EP1 plugged into which side? The filter expression side. But why don't you tell us about the happiness and how we should give it a shot?
Okay, first, don't turn the resonance up past noon unless you've got the volume way down.
All right.
'Cause it'll scream at you so loud. But other than that, like, good call to plug that expression pedal in. You can use it a lot like a wah, although I think now I prefer the happiness version of a wah to the traditional. But there's maybe set that toggle switch for the mode in the middle. That's bandpass, and then you can dial the LFO out by just putting the depth knob right at noon, and then you can just work the filter with an expression pedal and sort of get a feel for it from there.
Awesome. So how about I give it a try? You control it. So.
So I think the expression is just doing the volume right now. It seems like it.
Yeah, it seems like it's kind of just controlling the output volume, or rather than a blend or anything. Should I try it in the what is it, the
LFO?
The LFO expression, then?
Sure. Yeah, that'll. So that will control the rate of the internal LFO.
Oh.
There we go.
Right on. So this is a filter, right? I mean,
Yes,
overall category. Now, any other
Yeah.
tricks or tips you could show us with this?
Well, the other tricks that I really dig with it involve hooking it up to a bunch of other stuff. But, I mean, if you got that Necromancer in the chain, I feel like that the happiness is almost happiest when it's filtering a big, nasty fuzz.
Oh, let's pop it on then and see what happens, right?
All right.
All right.
Nice. Hey, we're just about out of time here. We got about a minute left.
All right, on.
Just in the last minute, you want to tell our listeners anything you want to know, where to find you, your website, social media, all of that?
Okay. Well, dwarfcraft.com is the website, and then I'm Dwarfcraft on Twitter and Instagram. Yeah, those are the ways to get to see us. And also, oh yeah, we're on Facebook, of course, Dwarfcraft Devices. And then I Love Fuzz also.
Nice, very cool.
Right
We'll link all that up when we get this episode posted. I guess, guys, if you like this kind of craziness, go get a couple of these and you could just explore this for hours, it seems.
Absolutely. And also, again, thank you so much, Ben, for joining us. We hope we can have you on again sometime when you release the new Echo or whatever else comes out. And do you want to plug your band or who you've been recording with as well?
Oh, yeah. Actually, yes, please. We're called the Ronald Reagan.
Nice name.
And we're just up on Bandcamp. And actually, starting next
what's
week,
all around
every
you
day,
every waking
one
moment
of
of
those
your
songs
life?
is going on YouTube.
Marketing.
Right on.
You're
Awesome.
choking
We'll
on
link
it.
everything up. And
I'm
sorry
Scott
we crossed
Robinson,
over
and
into
when
some
it comes
commercial
to
here, but
strategic PR,
we'll
branding,
link
and
everything up.
marketing,
Absolutely.
I've
Thanks
seen
again,
it all.
Ben.
Thank you, Ben.
And actually,
All
I'm
right.
still
Peace.
seeing
Thank
it
you.
because bad marketing never sleeps.
It's kind
Join
of weird
me
hearing
each
your
week on
voice.
May the Best Brand Win, right here on EnterTalk Radio, and learn how to make the marketing for your brand unforgettable.
Hi, this is Tim Dolbear from Eclectica Studios. I'm a full-time mixing and recording engineer. I work with Grammy winners, labels, and indie artists, using state-of-the-art digital mixing and restoration tools and the very best in analog gear. Really, though, it's my ability to bring tracks to life and fulfill your vision for your music. This has made me sought after by producers and artists worldwide. So spend your time working on music and not chasing a mix down a rabbit hole. Go to timdolbear.com and check out our free one-song mix offer.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best.